$55,000. That's not a car. That's not a wedding. That's what the average person quietly loses when they build or buy a farmhouse in 2026. And most of them don't even realize it happened until it's too late. I found the 10 mistakes that drain that money straight out of your pocket, and today I'm showing you every one of them, including the single most unexpected upfront loss on this whole list, and the sneaky mistake at the end that quietly compounds into the biggest loss of all over 5 years.
Before we get into it, if you're even thinking about building or buying a farmhouse this year, hit subscribe right now, because I'm breaking down real 2026 numbers, not guesses. And stick around till the end, because that final mistake costs people more over time than any single line item on this list. Let's get into it. Farmhouse-style homes are having a moment. Searches for modern farmhouse get about a third more attention online than plain city homes, and these homes tend to hold their resale value well, keeping close to 90% of their original sale price after 5 years in some cases. So the style isn't the problem. The problem is how people plan, or don't plan, for what it actually costs. Whether you're pouring a foundation from scratch or buying one that's already standing, these 10 mistakes show up again and again. Let's break down the money. Wait till you see number 10. 1. Budgeting only the base construction. Price estimated loss, $15,000, $40,000. Mistake number 1, and it's the biggest trap of all. People budget for the house, not the project. A basic farmhouse in 2026 runs somewhere between $140 and $190 per square foot. Mid-range is closer to $190 to $260, and luxury builds can push past $350. But that number almost always assumes you already own finished, ready-to-build land. No grading, no clearing, no utility hookups. The second reality hits. Septic, well, driveway, permits, the number balloons. This is the single most common budget mistake builders make, locking in on that clean per square foot figure and forgetting it's only part of the story. 2. Skipping or underestimating site prep. Estimated loss, $10,000, $40,000 plus. Before a single wall goes up, your land has to be ready. Clearing trees, grading the lot, running water and electric lines, sometimes even building an access road. In rural areas especially, this phase alone can add $10,000 to $40,000 or more to your total project. And here's the kicker. Most first-time builders don't even ask about it until the contractor brings it up mid-project, which is exactly when you have zero leverage to negotiate. 3. Falling in love with complicated rooflines and layouts. That dramatic multi-gable roofline you saved on Pinterest? Gorgeous. Also one of the fastest ways to inflate your labor and material costs. Complex rooflines, oversized porches, and irregular layouts all multiply framing time, roofing material, and waste. It's not that you can't have the wraparound porch, it's that most people don't price it in before they fall in love with it. 4. Making frequent design changes mid-build. Estimated loss, $5,000, $20,000 plus. This one's sneaky because it doesn't feel like overspending in the moment. It feels like just one small change. Move a wall, upgrade a countertop, add a window. Each change order costs money, but more importantly, it costs time. And time is money on an active job site. Decide on your plans carefully before construction starts, and resist the urge to redesign once the crew is already working. That's when small preferences turn into expensive change orders. 5. Skipping the architect or professional plans. Estimated loss, $8,000, $25,000 in rework and code fixes. In a lot of areas, you're technically not required to hire a licensed architect for a residential build under a certain size, but not required doesn't mean smart to skip. An architect helps you dodge costly design mistakes, navigate local building codes, and squeeze more value out of every dollar of your budget, especially in areas where codes and zoning rules vary block by block. Skip this step, and you risk a redesign, a failed inspection, or a costly retrofit down the line. 6. Not locking in a fixed-price contract. Estimated loss, $15,000 plus, through change orders and vague estimates. Here's a number that should scare you. Budgets built around vague, single-line estimates regularly come in 15% or more over the original quote, through scope creep and mid-project change orders. On a $300,000 build, That's $45,000 in surprises. And if any part of that overage gets financed into your loan, you're now paying interest on someone else's bad estimate for years. The fix is boring but powerful. Get every line item defined, lock the material price, and sign the contract before ground breaks. 7. Buying rural land without full due diligence. Estimated loss, $20,000 plus. The most unexpected single upfront loss on this list. This is the mistake I promised you at the start, and it's brutal because it hides in the fine print. One buyer put down $450,000 on a piece of rural land, only to discover an unrecorded easement dispute after closing, an issue that cost him an extra $22,000 in legal fees just to sort out, before he could even use the property the way he planned. Rural land deals come with landmines city buyers never deal with: unclear property lines, easements, water rights, forestry program transfers, even internet access that stops working 3 miles down the road. If you're buying instead of building from scratch, a full title search and boots-on-the-ground inspection isn't optional. It's the only thing standing between you and someone else's problem becoming yours. 8. No water, septic, or utility access verified upfront. Estimated loss, $10,000, $30,000. A lot of rural and farmhouse properties don't have access to public water or sewer. That means you're footing the bill for a well, a septic system, or both. And if the existing system on a property you're buying is old or failing, you could be looking at a full replacement before you've even unpacked. Always get water and septic inspected and verified before you close, not after. 9. Underestimating closing costs and ongoing ownership costs. Estimated loss, $8,000, $20,000 per year. Compounding. Closing costs alone typically run 2 to 5% of the purchase price. On a $400,000 farmhouse, that's $8,000 to $20,000 before you even move in. Then ownership kicks in. Most experts recommend budgeting 1 to 2% of your home's value every single year for maintenance and repairs. People fixate on the mortgage payment and forget property taxes, insurance, HOA fees where they apply, and a dozen other small costs that show up in year 1. None of these individually breaks the bank. All of them together, that's where real money disappears. 10. No financial buffer or exit strategy. The sneaky mistake that compounds into the largest loss over 5 years. And here's the one I promised you. The mistake that costs more than any single item on this list, because it compounds. Most people build or buy right up to the edge of what they can afford, with zero cushion left over. No emergency fund, no plan if the market shifts, if a job changes, or if the property doesn't perform the way they expected. Understanding your financial limits and having a real exit strategy is what protects you from turning one bad year into a financial crisis. The farmhouses that hold their value, the ones that keep close to 90% of their sale price years later, almost always belong to people who built in a buffer from day one. So let's add it up. Site prep, design changes, skipped architects, vague contracts, rural land surprises, water and septic issues, closing costs, ongoing maintenance, and zero financial buffer. Individually, some of these feel small. Stacked together, they're exactly how normal, careful people end up $55,000 or more in the hole on a home they were excited about. If you're planning a farmhouse build or purchase this year, save this video. You're going to want to come back to it before you sign anything. Drop a comment and tell me which one of these 10 mistakes almost got you, or which one you're worried about most. And if this helped, subscribe. I'm covering the full 2026 farmhouse cost breakdown, room by room, next week, and you don't want to miss it.